Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. I'm back for Flosstube number 8. This is Friday, December 9, 2022, the day I'm recording. It should get uploaded later today. My channel is mostly about cross stitch, but it's also about quilting and other sewing projects that I have to share, and I hope you're happy to be along for the ride. If you're returning, if you're a subscriber and you've returned, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. I appreciate all the comments. It's so much fun to read the comments and respond and get to know people by name. And if you're new, you're very welcome here. I hope you see something that you enjoy, and I hope you will be inclined to hit the subscribe and like button and share and all those things that we do on Flosstube. Okay, I'm going to start with cross stitch and then a separate video I will do of the quilt. I'll mention the name of the quilt, but it'll be number Flosstube 8.5. That's the way I've done those separate videos. I have piles of stuff around me, and if I don't have an avalanche, it'll be a miracle. I have Christmas finishes, past finishes, framed and ornaments and things that have been down here, so you haven't seen those in previous videos. I have some stitched finishes. I have haul. My haul is starting to come in, so I have lots of things to show. I'm going to get right going here. Okay, past finishes. I have some that are framed. First one I'm going to show you is Little Quaker Christmas. The designer is Susan Aki. This is a freebie pattern from Aurifil. When I sewed this, I got the thread pack, the Aurifil thread pack from Fat Quarter Shop. Let me show that. Let me put this down. Got the thread pack that goes with it. But as I say, the pattern is free from Aurifil Designs. Let's see, yeah. And Susan Aki is the designer. I love the bright colors on that. It's very different from a lot of things I do, from most things I do. I'm sorry to have to bend down, but once I show these things, they have to get out of the way, or like I say, we will have an avalanche. The next one I want to show you is a Prairie Schooler. It's called Christmas Eve. And I don't have the pattern to show you, that's in Kentucky, but on the front of the pattern, the model is shown on a beige or a cream fabric, and I wanted Christmas Eve to be like midnight. I wanted Santa flying through the night sky, not a daylight sky. And I gave the front reindeer a red nose. I don't know if you can see that. I stitched this with all the DMC floss that was called for. I didn't have to change any of the colors for them to show on this navy fabric. One thing I did switch out though is this border, the stitched border, called for the color that's like the reindeer, and I didn't think that would stand out enough, so I just switched it to the gold that's like in this house, and that's what I used for that outside border. It's called Christmas Eve, Prairie Schooler. Okay, another finish I have is 'Tis the Season from Blackbird Designs. This has been all over, I think like a year or two ago. Boy, this one was all over Instagram. Everyone was doing this one. I kept the saying in French instead of changing it to English. I used all of the called for threads, and I'm thrilled with this frame. I don't know if you can tell, that just, to me, that just pulls out the colors of those holly leaves. I'm really happy with that. I had this framed at Hobby Lobby, and this pattern is from the Home for the Holidays book, Blackbird Designs. It's very commonly available. It's a wonderful, wonderful book. It has so many wonderful Christmas designs in it. So those are the framed finishes I have that I've kept down here. I have another, you saw this easel last time, I think, or time before, when I had different finishes in it. Now I've switched out for the Christmas This is Mary Mary by HandsOn Design and Priscilla Blaine. I mounted it, this part, yeah, let me knock the whole thing down. This part is on by magnets, but I mounted the stitch onto that board. So I just mount that one on. Oops, and I made my bow with magnet also. Let's see if I can get it rearranged. There. There, so that's that one. Switched out for the Christmas season. And since it is Santa's, I will put it away after the Christmas season. Even though I keep lots of things that are wintry, I keep them out after Christmas is over. And this is the companion pillow that goes with that. It came with in the same pattern of the Jabco buttons. And I finished it on the back like Kathy Haberman shows. You cut it open and stuff it, and then you have this iron on. And I finished it off with the date charm and a couple red buttons with a bulb pin. It's the Mary Mary. Again, HandsOn Design and Priscilla Blaine. And I have Mr. Marshmallow. It took me a long time to get all the things I needed for this. I got the Kermit fabric, and I got all the called for threads. And I had, whoops, this and I just pulled my bow out. Oh, Karen. I'm gonna have to refix that. Okay. This fabric was left over from Christmas quilts I made for the grandkids. And I thought that was, color-wise, it was great. Now, floppy corners. I followed Vanna's tutorial, and someone, I think made by Michelle McGraw, talks about putting stuffing yarn into the corners that won't move out. Well, it did. I tried it with this and it did. Now, Vanna came out just within the last week, I think, with new tutorials. One is on stuffing pillows, and she shows that she stuffs the corners and then puts a pin in diagonally to keep that there. And then she continues her stuffing. So if she has said that before, I missed it entirely. But I'm going to do that next time. So, Mr. Marshmallow by Brenda Gervais. And I have to fix that bow. Okay, I have Christmas ornaments. I have 4 fully finished Prairie Schooler Santas. I don't know what the year is for each of the Santas. I put the charm on for the year I finished them. That's all I did. So this one is Northwind. Again, I don't know the year. I stitched mine all on the 18 count Davos fabric, which is what the models are shown on, and that's what I liked, so that's what I stitch it on. But that means stitching over 1, which after I watched the Jean Farish tutorial on stitching over 1, it's not a problem to do. I think it takes more thread, but oh well, it's a great finish. So, and this one is And to All a Good Night. Whoops. Okay. This one is North Pole. The polar bear. This one is Peace on Earth. And I finished them all the same way with the same fabric on the back. This fabric came from Kansas Troubles, one of her Christmas line from a couple years ago, I think. So I don't know that this would particularly be available, but I think her fabric is particularly amenable to going with cross stitch and finishing. Now this was the first twisted cord I did myself using Vanna, the Twisted Stitchers tutorial, and I got the Kreinik tool to twist and twist and twist. And listening to Vanna's instructions, she said it'll start to feel like it's, you're going to start to feel resistance. And so I was twisting and twisting and thinking, is that resistance? Am I feeling resistance? Is that enough? Not really knowing what that meant. So this is the first one I did, and it's too loose. way too loose. So I've learned now that you keep doing it until it's ready to fold up on top of itself, and then it's twisted enough. So those are the 4 fully completed Prairie Schooler Santas. I have a couple more that are stitched but not fully finished, and patterns for even more. And I have the whole set of Glitter Village. There are 9 in the set. Now at this point, I don't remember which number each is, but I got the entire set. And it's stitched with Krynic. Each one of these has some Krynic, the sparkly metallic-like thread, which is a pain to work with. I don't like working with it. I like the look of having a little sparkle, but I surely do not like sewing with it. And I finished them all the same. I found this fabric that has like silver stars on it. It's white. I put the year charm on it. Finished around the edge with Lady Dot mini palms. And again, used Vanna's tutorial for flat ornament. There's another Glitter Village, and this entire tree, well, entire, almost, not the turquoise color, but that's that metallic thread. Yowzer. There's another. And again, I don't remember which one is which number in the set. There's another. There's another. Okay, this one's the church. The bell in the steeple is stitched with the Krynic, and what else? Oh, a little bit around the roof, the peak of the roof, over the door. There's another one. Whoops. And the last one in the set. Okay, so those are ready to go on the tree. I haven't done that yet because I was waiting for Flosstube so I could show everything. Last year, no, it was last Christmas, I stitched from HandsOn Design her 3 Flamingo designs. Thought that was particularly appropriate to have Christmas in Florida and to have the flamingo designs. This one is Flamingo all the way. And I used the DMCs, you know, the alternative that was in the pattern. I don't remember if she had weeks or what she called for. This is Flamingo Bells. Those socks just crack me up. Those striped socks, I love them. And Falamingo. And these were finished, these 3 were finished all the same. I had some Christmas fabric for the back. I used the Lady Dot mini palm that was called for in the pattern, and then I just did a loop of baker's twine. Then last spring, she came out with Coastal Holiday. The same shape, 3 shapes, and these are, again, for celebrating Christmas by the sea. This one says peace. It has shells on it and beads. This was the first time I did beading on a cross-stitch piece. And this one is Noel. Again, beads, crab, a seagull. Joy, this has fish and beading. Okay, and those three, I finished all the same. I had fabric left from a quilting project that was the perfect color. And I used the called for Lady Dot mini palms that she called for in her pattern. And then the other part of the pattern is this box. Stitch the front, beautifully beaded. I love the beading. And I had, again, from that same quilt project, I had enough left over that I could finish it to go with the ornaments. And then the inside, I don't know if you can see any of the print inside. No, it's like, well, there you can kind of see it, raindrops. Okay, and then this box, all 6 of these little ornaments fit in the box nicely side by side, so they can be stored in there all together. And when they're on the tree, this box can be used to hold Christmas cards. And that's what I plan to do this year. So these are ready to go on the tree, and then this will be holding my Christmas cards. Okay, those are my Christmas finishes, past finishes, all my past finishes. And then since my last floss tube, I've had a couple finishes in stitching. The first one you'll probably have guessed because it was so close to being done last time. Rosa Sugars, age 4, HandsOn Design. And here she is. She was all ironed. I pulled her out of the project roll, and I'll get her back in there so I don't have to press it again. I love the bright colors. She did go a little bit astray, but as a 4-year-old, my goodness, it's wonderful. So you really, you know, as soon as you think I can depend on this pattern repeating, something would be different, and you couldn't do that. So if you're trying to reproduce hers, which I was, so that's Rosa Sugars. Hold on. Okay, let's try to use this board again here. And the one I whined about not getting in the mail, when it was 3 weeks late, I let Stephanie at Lindys Stitches know. She sent it out lickety-split. Here it is. The violet green swallow. Isn't that a beautiful bird? And I'm not familiar with that bird, so it must live in a different area of the country than where I live. Now look at the picture. That's the photo, and that's the stitching. It is absolutely a perfect rendition of that bird. And it's just beautiful. I love that one. Love it, love it. So that one will get framed when we get back to Kentucky. I have all the frames, and all the other ones are in the frames, waiting for these last 2, the November and December, to get there. I also then, after Flosstube, went back to Rosetta Featherstone. I added more border down here. Why am I not using that board? Just a minute, I'm sorry. I've got so much stuff piled here, I can't quite get my head wrapped around it. I'll hold it like this. There it is. Okay, I continued the border down on this side. I got the ship and the bee done. And again, when this one gets done, I'm going to experiment with some darkening, aging looking stuff. Okay, that's Rosetta. Then I went back to my focus piece, and as I've said before, my focus piece is always my oldest whip, and it stays my focus piece until I get it done. And I require of myself a minimum of 7 days in the month. More if I want, but I have to do 7 days. My rule. Okay, so I finished the border on both sides all the way down. So I still have to do the border along the bottom. I've worked some more on the house. Now, I don't know if you can see this. In the roof, she had some notes saying that the floss color had changed since she originally printed the pattern, and that she thought carriage black was more appropriate. So on the roof, I bought carriage black, and she said that she stitched, and then whenever she got to the lighter color, she stitched random diamond shapes and then surrounded it with the darker. Now, I don't know if you can see that. In the natural light, I can see it. When I'm under my magnifying bright light, I really don't see the design, but I am stitching it that way. And then another huge boo-boo, I was watching Sable Stitchers, Lindy and Roberta, and Roberta showed her beautiful framed finish of this project. And when I looked at it, I thought, she has some things that are really dark that on my piece are really light. And I sent her a message and said, did you change out a thread color? And I didn't get a response yet, but I'm just investigating. I looked at the pattern, and yeah, on the pattern picture on the front, that area was dark. I did it again. I mixed up two symbols. So I was stitching with Lexington green instead of espresso bean. Huge difference. So I frogged that out, changed that up. And then the other thing, I had made a mistake on the width of the house. I had 2 rows too many, so the roof didn't line up. I had to frog out two stitches, shorten it this way. I had the gold all done, I had the roof done, so I had to, anyway, big pain getting the threads buried back in there, but got it all straightened out. Back on the straight and narrow now, I think. So that one continues, and I've spent 6 days on this one, so I have 1 more required day this month, and I may or may not do more. I'll see. And the other thing I've stitched on is the December Bird Crush Club, which came Wednesday after I was done with my stitching time, and then I stitched on it yesterday. Loose thread, sorry. I pulled the needle off. But this one is Red-Faced Warbler. Again, this is not a bird I'm familiar with anywhere I have ever lived. And look at here's the actual photograph, and look at that little bird. She has just done a fantastic job with these charts. And even though I've got the tummy almost all done, there's quite a bit more to do. The writing and the branches and stuff, and feet and all that. So anyway, so December is in hand. That's the last of Bird Crush Club. I have all 12. This will get done. And these two, the November and December, will join the rest of them in Kentucky when we get back in April. Okay, before I go on, where's my list? Okay, that was my whips. Okay, so before I start haul, I want to show you, I showed you before that I have my 2023 book of days, but I took it to Office, which one was it? Was it Staples? Was it Office Depot. And I got the plastic cover put on the front and back. I have it spiral bound. And I had them add 5 pages in the back, and I haven't put anything on them yet. I'll leave a couple pages probably for finishes and to stick pictures and things like that in. So my book of days for 2023 is all bound the way Sherry, Colorado cross stitcher, shows that she did for her book. And I think it's a great idea. I think it'll wear better. This has been open and closed. This is this year's. It's wearing here from all the opening and closing, I guess. Okay, haul. Now, I did go through kind of a drought with haul, because when we get close to the time that we're going to be relocating, I have to stop ordering, and to be safe, really a month ahead in case anything is delayed. I don't want anything to be lost in forwarding or anything like that. So I think October 1st was my last order. And now I'm back at it. So I have some things to show. I did get my Be Stitch Me Fabric Club, Fabric of the Month Club. This one's called Portobello. It's a dark, nicely modeled from Be Stitch Me. And she has kept up with the address change very nicely, so that hasn't been a problem. I've not lost anything. And then Cyber Monday, I got drawn in because I didn't have to go into any busy store. From Joann's, I ordered a bunch of beads that I can use for zipper pulls and things like that with the macrame threads. Another couple, some tassels in black and gray for zipper pulls. Oops. Some little bee charms, like attached to zipper pulls. Very cute. And some more beads. So that was Joann's Cyber Monday. And Cyber Monday Kitten Stitcher. I ordered size 28 Peacemaker tapestry needles because I had had an order from the attic and they did not have any 28 size in stock from any of the 4 brands they carry. So I got this at Kitten Stitcher, and I'll show you what I got from the attic in a little bit here. She had a lot of colors in Weeks Dye Works on sale, half price, and a lot of these are just, they're so common. I mean, they're called for in pattern after pattern, and they were, oops, I can't even hold them. And they were like half price. So I got them. I got Baked Apple, Cayenne, Sanguine, Fawn, Havana, and Schneckly. Schneckly is the color that was used on the house in Mighty Acorn. I used up a lot of that, so those are ready to go. I also ordered a scissor, and I ordered it because I liked the shape and the look of it and thought it would be good in pictures. You know, when I'm showing my needlework and lay it, a cute pair of scissors there. But I really did think they would be like embroidery scissors. They're not. They're like gardening, snip your herbs or something. They're quite tight. They're not anything I would use for sewing, but I would use them in a picture. So I'm not disappointed, but that's what I ordered. Again, on sale, Kitten Stitcher. I got a fat quarter of Eureka, 40 count Eureka from Fox and Rabbit. It's a nice cream color. Little yellowy. That'll be nice for samplers. Excited to have that. I like their linen, it's very nice. And this has been on my wish list for a long time. It's a Blackbird book called Sisters. And there's one project I wanted this book for. At First Cock's Crow. Where is that? First Cock's Crow. That one. I love stitching Halloween, for one thing. And I just love it. I love the saying, at first cock crow, ghosts must go, back to their quiet graves below. I love it. Love the colors. Whoops. So I may do other things in the book too, but that's why I wanted that one. Okay. Now, really special haul. Okay. If you watch Katie Strachan, I'm sure you've seen her Simple Harmony box. It's absolutely gorgeous. It was on display at the attic for quite a while. Many people are starting it. Karen and Bren of Fox and Rabbit are starting it. And I love the project, and I have a very specific reason I want to do it. We have, our genealogy has been done. My cousins did a lot of research on genealogy, and I have a 6th generation maternal line, and it ends with my daughter because she had sons. So when I finish this, it'll be done. No one will have to go back in and add, unless they can research further back, but that's all we have. So in the 6th generation back, we have the first name and a married name, no birth name, and the most specific that their research showed was that she's from Canada. Well, that's not very specific, but anyway, so I want to do this project, and it'll be special. It'll go to my daughter, of course, when it's done. So I got the box from Amazon, the specific box that called for in Katie's project. And I think the first tutorial I watched is that the hardware has to come off the box. I have to do filler and sand it, and that'll be the first step. So there's the box. I downloaded the PDF from Modern Folk Embroidery. It's the Forget-Me-Not pattern. That's what Katie had adapted to go on the box. And I will have to do more adaptations also, because I'm putting more initials in than what she had in hers. So I have craft paper, I'll do that. And I'm going to kind of rely on Christine at Mountain Craft Studio. And I've noted below Katie Strachan's Flosstube, where she introduced the box, and then Christine's, where she showed her finish of her box. Now, she did not use red. Katie used red, and Christine used the dark charcoal, and that's what I ordered. So I have the silks in the charcoal, and then a soie d'Alger and accentuate will be for the gold letters, the initials. So I have all of that. That's why I needed the size 28 needles. And the attic also had the fabric. This is Russian tea cake, 37 count from Lakeside linen. And it was a fat half. That's required for the project. So that's a big project that I'm going to be working on. I don't know how long it'll take me to get it done. I don't know. But I'm determined to get it done because I think it'll be a really special thing to have in the family. So that's the end of my haul. Okay. Now my plans for up to the next Flosstube, which will be December 23rd. I am going to spend 3 days on my red sampler, Helen Schnorr. I'll do my 7th day on my focus piece, and I want to not only get the bird crush done, but I want to go back to those samplers that I started in Sampler September. Redbird sampler and the rose and the giant pear. And then of course Rosetta Featherstone is still hanging out there, and I want that done before February so I can do a new birthday start. So those are my plans. And that's the end of the cross-stitch portion of the program. And I will do a separate video on the quilt that's behind me and answer questions that many of you asked about blocking a quilt, because the quilt I showed last time, I'd said I hadn't blocked it, and that was the comment from the judge that the sides were not, or that the edges were not all even. And she was right. So it needs to be blocked before it goes back to the state fair. And there were many, many questions about blocking a quilt, and I'll talk about that. So if you look for Flosstube number 8.5. That's what that will be, and I'll do a close tour of the quilt and talk about blocking. So that's the end of the cross stitch portion of my program, and I will bid you adieu until 2 weeks from now, and I'll come back for number 9. I hope you will like and subscribe and share and do all the things. Thanks. Bye-bye.